The history of Israel. No nation has been more disputed. What is the truth? And what does it mean for Israel and the United States? Author David Brog tells us the true story of the Jewish state. Plus, Ephraim Graham joins us to share this week's top 5 stories from the world of positive entertainment on today's 700 Club Interactive. Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Here's a look at this week's top 5 from Studio 5.
At number 5.
The first time I laid eyes on you, I thought, here's a woman out of my league, but I'm feeling overconfident.
My favorite things about you are your ability to make me laugh in the most ridiculous situations.
In a People magazine exclusive, comedian Jim Gaffigan's wife Jeannie reveals she successfully underwent brain surgery for a tumor last month and says the health crisis brought her closer to God.
Love your wife, your writing partner, partner in parenting, partner in crime, Jeannie.
Jim and Jeannie say they're now using this time to teach their children new lessons in compassion. Now to number 4.
When I was born to coal miner's daughter.
Answered prayers for Loretta Lynn. The 85-year-old country music legend leaves the hospital to begin rehabilitation a little more than a week after she had a stroke at her Tennessee home. Her website says she's doing great, but her shows are still being postponed.
We were poor, but we had love. That's the one thing that Daddy made sure of.
At number 3.
He is the wimpy kid.
There's one thing I've learned from my years of being a kid. It's that you have zero control over your own life.
The 4th film in the popular Diary of a Wimpy Kid series hits theaters this weekend with an all-new cast, including Alicia Silverstone and Tom Everett Scott as the parents, Charlie Wright as a big brother, and 12-year-old Jason Drucker now in the leading role of Greg.
Come on, Greg! Greg!
Well, you said you wanted to get the boat on the water this summer.
At number 2.
Hard to believe that Dolly Parton, icon, country music singer, actress, came from such humble beginnings.
Well, that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this show, because people like me have to come from somewhere.
Legendary singer Dolly Parton is sharing more of her life in a new book, Dolly on Dolly, Interviews and Encounters with Dolly Parton. She recalls overcoming a time of profound depression, even once picking up a gun and contemplating suicide.
Now, you started singing in your grandfather's church. He was a minister. How vivid are those memories today?
Oh, very vivid. I keep all that stuff very close to my heart. I mean, I grew up knowing Jesus loved me, and I knew that through God all things were possible, and I just grew up with those little things that we just heard all the time. My grandpa was a really good preacher. He used to scare me a little bit.
At number 1, In Our Hands, The Battle for Jerusalem marks the 50th anniversary of the Six-Day War.
If you leave here, you won't be coming back. But if I don't leave, none of you will be coming back.
Production for In Our Hands took just under a year to complete, and one of the most pivotal battle scenes was shot right here at Ammunition Hill.
We did the shooting on this Jeep right here. This was actually originally Motagur's Jeep, the character played by Sharon.
The CBN Documentaries film is in theaters Tuesday.
Well, Ephraim Graham joins us now. A lot of interesting stuff in that top 5. Now, In Our Hands, the CBN documentary, doing very well now, up to 732 theaters.
That's awesome, awesome. Looking forward to seeing it, and purposely has put distance between the last time I see it so that I actually am seeing it with fresh eyes. And it was an honor to sit down with the cast members, those who bring the lives of the paratrooper story to the big screen, and to hear their own personal connections, because all of them have family personal connections to the Six-Day War, and just their passion for the project. It's beautiful to see.
Dolly Parton, I think a lot of people will be quite surprised to know of her contemplation of suicide years
Absolutely.
back.
I was very surprised to see that as well. She's got a new book where she shares a lot more details about her life, things she's never told before. It's written in the form of interviews we've seen in magazines, but some we've never seen. As far as suicide goes, she says she literally was. She had an affair on her husband. That affair broke up. She was depressed and was contemplating suicide, looking at a gun in the room, and just as she's about to pick it up, she hears the feet of her dog, Popeye, running into the room. And she says that startled her, brought her back to, to herself and to reality. And she really, really believes that God used that dog to wake her up. And she feels like, if someone who the world looks at is really, really solid could reach a point of depression and breakdown, she's sharing it to let you know, I've been there, even as much as I have, and you can come out of this.
Why do you think she's one of the most beloved figures in entertainment over the last few decades?
I think because she is so real and so honest about everything. I mean, she's not one to lie about it. She'll just tell you, I don't want to talk about it, or she's going to tell you, she's honest about surgery. She's honest about her marriage. She's honest about that. And she's a very smart businesswoman, very smart businesswoman. I think people underestimate how smart she is.
Also country music, Loretta Lynn.
Yeah.
How do you think she's doing after her stroke?
According to her website, very well. The fact that they say that doctors say for her to postpone the tour says to me she's got to be doing pretty well for you to even contemplate going. So it literally took the doctor to say, no, let's postpone that. But they say rehabilitation is going well. It's only been a little more than a week since she suffered the stroke, but they do expect her to make a full recovery, and that's good news.
Jim Gaffigan, who I would say is probably my favorite comedian.
He's right up there for me as well. Love him.
Hysterical.
Love him.
I remember a few months back, they decided not to do another season of the show. I don't know if it had anything to do with his wife's medical condition.
It didn't. That was really simply family trying to take back time and for them to move on to do other things. They did not discover until just a few weeks ago that she even suffered a tumor. Having 5 kids, his wife avoided even many of the symptoms and just dismissed them as fatigue. And it wasn't until they said she had a tumor on her brain the size of a pear. It wasn't until she started to lose her hearing that she felt, no, this is not just fatigue. This is something serious. Doctors were able to successfully remove the tumor. He did a beautiful tribute on Mother's Day. If you follow them on social media, they've been very open about what they're going through. Even those 2 comedians cracking jokes about the whole thing. He's saying, I'll never win a fight with you, at least for the next few weeks or so, because you've had a tumor. What can I say to that?
And over the years, people have said, Jim Gaffigan evidently is a believer,
Yes,
and we're seeing from this recent experience they've had, their faith is even more important to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. They say that, enduring this and going through it has brought his wife in particular even closer to God. It's brought their family closer together. And they're taking this time to teach their kids lessons in compassion. He said one of the beautiful things is living in New York City, you can imagine how busy that city is, that just the compassion and kindness of people that they've seen, strangers on the streets, has been overwhelming for them. And they're pointing that out to their children, like, this is the type of life we live. This is the kindness you share. This is the compassion you show. So it's beautiful to see that.
And his comedy, he's been able to do a lot of comedy, a lot of stand-up, and keep it clean.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's saying that he just has a new comedy project called Cinco that he should be promoting right now. And he's doing some promotion for it, but he goes, it just feels so weird because nothing is as important as my wife's health right now, but I've got to do some, I'm still working too. And it's a different perspective for him now.
Now, Ephraim, some may say, do we really need another Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie? But I have to say, my kids, they read the books. My 2 boys.
My son did too.
And I would see them late at night in their rooms reading these books, and then I saw them one day watching on TV. I sat down with them, and they're actually funny films.
They are.
I would say family friendly.
Yes, very much so.
I was pleasantly surprised at how we could all sit and laugh together. And here's another one. You think it'll be successful?
I think it will be successful. I will say that I am attached to the former cast. We have an all-new cast
we
now
always
here.
have to adjust.
I'm attached to them, but I really, really also respect the author because he has awakened reading for many young boys, and Jeff Kinney is a devout Catholic as well, and some of his books have now been translated into Latin as well. Priests have translated them
to Latin.
Into Latin.
Why?
I guess an homage to the Catholic faith.
Priests reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
I would think some probably are.
Alicia Silverstone's in this one.
Yes.
Boy, they look amazingly like the rest of the cast.
They
See,
do.
if you pretend in the theater, you won't know any different.
If you pretend, but I'm really attached to that old cast. I really like them. I really am. My 16-year-old and I will see this together. At this time, it's at Dad's request and not his.
Maybe I'll see you there.
Right.
Well, if you would like to see Ephraim's Top 5 and other episodes, you want to watch his show Studio 5, you can watch it on Roku or Apple TV, or go to cbn.com/Studio 5. Ephraim, we'll see you next week.
All right. See you next week. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. Well, up next, the truth of Israel's history and what happens if that truth cannot be reclaimed. Author David Brog joins us next. Don't go away. Well, do you know the true history of Israel? Chances are your answer to that question depends on where you get your news. Our next guest says understanding the truth is of the utmost importance. Take a look.
United Nations ambassadors, world leaders, diplomats, and even U.S. presidents have all touted a two-state solution to bring lasting peace to the Middle East. And most have also promoted the idea that Israel is the main obstacle to that peace. But author David Brog says the problem with the argument that Israel is the obstacle to peace is that it's just not true. 5 times since 1937, Jews in the region have agreed to proposals to divide territory into 2 states, one Jewish, one Palestinian, living side by side in peace. Every one of those offers have been rejected by Arab leaders. The last Land for Peace offer was made by Prime Minister Ehud Olmert in 2008, in which the Palestinians would have received 93% of the West Bank for a state, and East Jerusalem as its capital. That offer was flatly rejected by Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas. Brog says it's time to set the record straight on this and other myths about Israel. He does that in a new book, Reclaiming Israel's History, Roots, Rights, and the Struggle for Peace.
Well, David Brog joins us now. Welcome.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right, let's talk about President Trump a little bit. He likes to tout his ability to negotiate, make deals. Is there any real chance you see of him bringing any peace to the Middle East?
I think there's a chance, but only if he recognizes the mistakes his predecessors have made and does something different. Going back decades now, as the lead-in said, Israel's offered 5 times to give the Palestinians a state of their own, to divide the land and give them half and live in peace with them. In 1937, 1947, 1967, 2000, 2008. Each time Israel offered this compromise, the Palestinians turned it down. And they turned it down because Palestinian leaders still cling to this dark dream that they can rule all of the land. They can destroy Israel and have it all for themselves. Unless and until they give up this dream, why would the 6th offer produce any different result? So my hope for President Trump is that he'll think outside of the box. He'll be an innovative deal maker. He'll say, I'm not going to repeat the mistakes of the past.
And he needs to know the history, right? He really needs to know it and understand it for context.
I think it's the only way he can understand what's failed and how repeating what's failed repeatedly is not a winning strategy.
Or sometimes maybe deal makers or the president coming in will say, we're doing a fresh start. We're starting over, like, we're just forget all the past. But he can't do that.
Yeah, no. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. I mean, the saying, we need to learn from history, not to repeat the mistakes of history, has merit here. Only if you know the situation can you do better. And if he were going to make a real estate deal, I think he'd want to know who's tried to buy this land in the past. Who are the parties that own the land? What are they interested in? What do they fear? He needs to do the same thing here. And if he does the same thing here, he might just realize that there's a reason why Obama and Clinton and Bush and even Reagan failed to make a breakthrough here. And maybe he can do something different. Maybe he can get a better result.
College campuses today are not exactly a place where Israel is advocated for. Tell me about your experiences right now on college campuses, what you're trying to do, what you're encountering.
Colleges are an interesting place.
Laugh.
I spend a lot of time on college campuses, and you can get discouraged, but actually it's encouraging. Because you go to a college campus, and there's a conventional, a prevalent, dominant conventional wisdom when it comes to Israel and when it comes to a lot of issues, frankly. There's a political correctness that really dominates. And when it comes to Israel, the dominant idea is there could be peace tomorrow. If Israel would only end its so-called occupation of the West Bank and give the Palestinians a state of their own. Israel's the obstacle to peace. Therefore, how do you get peace? You pressure Israel. That's why this BDS movement, this movement to boycott, divest from, and sanction Israel is growing on college campuses. Because students think we need to pressure Israel economically to do the right thing, let the Palestinians have a state. As we discussed, that narrative is completely at odds with history. Israel's tried doing exactly that 5 times. It's failed, and it's failed because the real barrier to peace is a Palestinian leadership that doesn't want compromise but wants to destroy Israel. So it's discouraging to see this dominant politically correct conventional wisdom. Here's what's encouraging. When you go to college campus and you insist on telling the truth and you walk students through this history, it changes their minds. The truth still works. History still works. You just need the opportunity to share it.
Now, Christians are somewhat taught or expected to advocate for Israel. Why? I think a lot of us just know I'm supposed to be praying for Israel. But why is it so important?
Well, it's extremely important for, first of all, biblical reasons.
That's the start.
It starts in the Bible. And, I've worked with Christians United for Israel for a decade. And when you ask most of the members of our organization, why do you support Israel? They usually go back to Genesis 12:3. He who blesses Israel will be blessed, and he who curses Israel will be cursed. Also, throughout the Bible, you see promises from God to the people, the Jewish people, that they will live in and have a certain land, the land of Israel. You understand this is God's will, God's promise, and you want to be part of making it come true. But here's something interesting I've found. I've worked a lot with Christian students. They come from pro-Israel homes. They know the Bible teaches them to be pro-Israel. But they get to college, they're taught lies about Israel, and they feel like there's a conflict between their heads and their hearts. Their heart says you're supposed to support Israel. The head says, don't.
But why are the lies taught?
The lies are taught, I think, because people are, first of all, there are a lot of people out there who don't much like Israel. Arab countries, Muslim interests have been teaching anti-Israel lies ever since the birth of the State of Israel. But today you have an alliance between anti-Israel organizations from the Middle East and progressives on campus. And what they've done is Israel's enemies are smart. They've fit their anti-Israel narrative into the dominant view of students on campus, the dominant view of liberal professors on campus. This dominant view holds, and you talk to progressives, they believe all evil in the world comes from white Europeans and white Americans. And they try very hard to fit this square peg of Israel into this round hole of their progressive ideology. And so they try to see Israel as some European power oppressing the indigenous Arabs. If you know anything about Israel, you know how untrue that is. You know that the Jews are the indigenous people.
So that's one of the biggest myths.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. And so we have to come teach the fact that Jews are indigenous to the land of Israel. And more than that, most Israelis today don't trace their roots to European Jewish communities. They trace their roots to Jewish communities that existed in the Arab world and the Muslim world since before the birth of Islam. But these Jews were expelled from their homes after the birth of Israel in 1948. So these are truths we need to share. And when it comes to Christian students, you see this conflict. They want to support Israel. They were taught to support Israel, but they get to college and they hear that Israel does these terrible things and they don't know what to do. When we can take Christian students and teach them the facts about this conflict and teach them the facts about Israel, you can see the relief on their faces. It takes a burden off of them, both with the head and the heart. They can support Israel.
With your book, what's the main, the main perspective you want to change?
I want to change this perspective that Israel is somehow the obstacle to peace, that Israel is an immoral country, that good people, good Christians, good Jews should not support Israel.
Hasn't been perfect.
It is not perfect. Mm-hmm. It is a government of men, and like all government of men, these are fallible leaders who make mistakes. However, when we look at the history of the United States, I can point to mistakes that America's made, yet ultimately I'm a proud American because I think America has been a force for good in the world. I look at Israel, and as a Jew, I say, Israel's made mistakes, but Israel's been a force for good in the world, and when it comes to this conflict with those who seek to destroy Israel, the Israelis have repeatedly bent over backwards to accommodate and compromise. The reason why this conflict persists lay elsewhere. And telling the truth about Israel isn't only good for Israel. If we tell the truth about Israel, I think ultimately the leaders of the Arab countries, the leaders of the Palestinians will stop seeing peace with Israel as some sort of cowardly retreat. They'll recognize it for the brave compromise it really is. The only hope for peace. The only hope for peace is if ultimately the Arabs themselves realize the Jews belong here too. The Jews have rights here too. And that's what I try so hard to do in my book, to lay out the history of the Jewish connection to this land and the Jewish behavior in this land from day one.
Well, and the book is called Reclaiming Israel's History, Roots, Rights, and the Struggle for Peace. I highly recommend it. You can find it wherever books are sold. David, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Great to have you. Well, up next, the command to care for the helpless and one family that's making a difference.
This is one of the best evangelical ways of showing somebody else Christ's love. And it's pretty easy with children because, in my opinion, children, no matter how bad they think they are, they're so easy to love.
We're going to meet the family who has fostered over 50 children when we return. On any given day, there are nearly 500,000 children in foster care, and that's just here in the United States. The book of James says, religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress. Thankfully, there are couples like John and Kelly DeGarmo doing just that.
In our home, there's no label, there's no biological, there's no foster, there's no adoptive. They're all our children, and we love them equally, unconditionally.
John DeGarmo is a recognized expert on foster care and adoption. And while his faith now empowers his ministry to children, at one point in his life, he wanted nothing to do with God.
Our first child died of a condition called anencephaly, or some pronounce it anencephaly. It's a condition where the brain never truly forms. And I turned my back on God. I was full of anger. I was full of bitterness. I thought, how can this be? When our next child was born, Colby was born, I wouldn't even have her baptized in a church. I was that full of anger and sadness.
But a vivid dream brought him back to his faith.
Felt as if I was just encompassed in evil. And when I spoke to my minister, he told me that it was as if Satan was trying to grab a hold of me. And it was at that point I realized I had to make some life changes.
Those changes included heeding what Scripture says about caring for widows and orphans. John and his wife Kelly have 3 birth children, and over the last 20 years have adopted 3 children and fostered 50 more.
You know, there are 450,000 children in the foster care system, and roughly any given year, 125,000 of these children will go up for adoption. There are so many children out there who will never find a family.
The DeGarmos believe that opening up your home to a child in need is a practical and loving way to spread the gospel.
This is one of the best evangelical ways of showing somebody else Christ's love. And it's pretty easy with children because, in my opinion, children, no matter how bad they think they are, they're so easy to love. And a little bit of love goes a long way for a child.
Matthew 25:35 says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. I was naked, and you gave me clothing." That's these children. These children are suffering, and that's where the church can step in and say, hey, I will help feed them. I will help clothe them. I will help give them something to drink. I will help love them. The widows and the orphans that Jesus talks about, that's these orphans. The mission field is right here in America.
Both John and Kelly are quick to point out the challenges and heartaches they face every day.
We've had children come into our home who have suffered horrific trauma, suffered so greatly from those people who supposedly love them the most. When the children do leave our homes, our hearts are ripped out, our hearts hurt. These children need us to hurt for them because they may have never had anybody love them in an unconditional fashion.
When a kid really needs some comforting, they'll often come to mum. So I think the emotional stress is more on the mother. You'll have some really bad days and I feel like I can't go on, I can't do this anymore, I cannot wipe one more nose, fill up another sippy cup or change a dirty diaper. And then something magical will happen and a child will run inside and give you a flower and say, I love you, mommy, and everything's great again.
The DeGarmos are in the process of building a group home for boys ages 9 through 18, the most vulnerable and least wanted of adoptive children.
In our group home, Never Too Late, we're going to give them an environment where they're going to find a forever home. We're going to give them an environment where they're going to find someone who will say, I will love you, I will help you, I will take care of you.
Despite the daily challenges, the DeGarmos say they wouldn't have it any other way.
They may not remember us or our names or our house, but they will remember a feeling of safety and love and security. And they can hold on to that feeling, and then they will know that there can be a different future for them.
It's the greatest thing that's happened in my life. I can't imagine not having these children in my life. We are all children of God, and I was adopted as well. I was adopted by faith. I was adopted by Christ. God adopts us, and He loves us unconditionally and forgives us our sins, and glory be to Him.
John and Kelly, we applaud what you've done for children. And of course, we listen to John talk about the fact that he's been adopted into God's family. And you can't hear that without thinking of Romans 8:15. Where the Apostle Paul says, we have not been given a spirit like that of a fearful slave, but we receive God's Spirit when He adopted us as His children into His family. And sometimes as Christians, I think we lose sight of the fact that we have been adopted into God's family. It's His idea. And a lot of times we may think this process of sanctification or becoming more holy, it can be a rough road. We make so many mistakes, don't we? We sin, we walk away from God's path or what He feels is best for us. And we do so much to get in our own way, right? And in those moments, I think we need to stop looking at ourselves, looking at our mistakes and our sins, and look at the Father. His idea to adopt us into His family, our Heavenly Father, who loves us and embraces us again and again and again. If you'd like prayer, you can call us at 800-700-7000. We would love to pray for you, whatever your need is. Just give us a call, 800-700-7000. We leave you with this word from Proverbs, chapter 31, verses 8 through 9. Open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all who are destitute. Open your mouth, judge righteously, defend the rights of the poor and needy. We thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time, we'll see you on 700 Club Interactive.